Okay, welcome back, guys. I wasn't going to record today. It has been the busiest week, and it's actually Friday, so I waited until the absolute last day that Adam was working in the office to do this podcast episode. We're calling it a podcast now. I am no longer afraid to call it a podcast. And I know myself, if I didn't do it this week, I would have ended up bailing. That's just how I am. If you're new here, my name is Lindsay. I am the maker behind Simply Serving on Etsy. I also do some pattern designing on Ravelry. I haven't designed for a while. I might change that soon. I haven't decided. And obviously the hostess of this YouTube channel, so welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back, giving me another chance. This is episode 3. I can't believe that we're at episode 3. It's gone by pretty quickly, to be honest. So I put on red lipstick for you guys today, even though it's going to be so hot today. This is the last day of a heat wave in our area and in many areas. It's going to be over 100 today, so as soon as I'm done recording, all of this is coming off. All the makeup is coming off. Hair is getting slicked back. These earrings, which are the biggest earrings I think I've ever worn in my life. They're super lightweight. I got them off Amazon. I actually have wood moths that look similar to this that are in my shop that I've been using as needle minders, and I'm kind of thinking about turning a pair into earrings for myself because I don't hate wearing this size. Like it looked big when I took them out, but when they're on, they don't look that big. So yeah, let's show you what I've been working on the last couple weeks. Okay, so for whips, I still am not doing a lot of sweater knitting. Again, heat wave. The kids went back to school, so I've really just been doing very small on-the-go projects. I think that I will show the baby sock because it's not technically a whip because I'm abandoning this particular pair because this baby sock is it's a different stitch pattern, count, everything than the ones that I had done before, but it's a bigger sock. Did I mention this, that I was going to start a green pair for my nephew, my 6-month-old nephew last time? I think I did. So anyway, I cast this on, I finished this little sock, and I went to visit her this past week, or was it last week? I think it was this week. This has been such a busy week. Everything is blurred together. And the foot part fits great, but he is in a size like 12-month clothing. He's like my son was. Rory was not. Rory was very thin child always. But anyway, so the leg does not fit. She could get it on, but it wasn't comfortable. So it makes sense because the first size that I was knitting was, according to the internet, I found a free pattern. It was size 0 to 6 that I was knitting the 40 cast on, 0 to 6 months. The next size, which was this one, was 6 to 12 months. And I was like, oh, that will be perfect. He's 6 months old. He'll be able to, even though at that point she had told me that he's in 12-month clothing, I guess I assumed his feet would not also be 12 months. I don't know. It's been a while since I've had a baby, guys. So anyway, I actually need to, this was a cast on of 44. I need to cast on 48 for his leg, I think. And then I'm going to decrease back down. Why isn't it focusing? I'm going to decrease back down around where the little tie is going to go. Decrease back down to 44 because the foot fit him. The length fit, the width fit. It looked like it had a little bit of room to grow too. So that won't take long. I need to decide if I'm going to continue with this pair or if I maybe just want to like tie it off and let it be like something that I put back here to kind of hang in the background during podcast for eye candy in the background if you get tired of looking at me. So haven't decided on that. I did wind up a whole bunch of minis. Let me see if I can get them out here. I am 98% sure. No, I'm 100% sure these are all from a Homespun House Advent. And it's just a bunch of tonals. And I'm going to pair them with each other, Bear, Stroll. Or actually, no, this is just white Stroll sock. This is all being housed in a new bag. I'm going to actually open this so you can see this amazing fabric. I hope you can see this. Yes, you can. Which is from Puff Stitch, Jill of Puff Stitch. Could not recommend her bags more. I have loved her work for a really long time. Actually, last year, Christmas 2022, one of the things that Adam got me was a bag from her shop. And that was, until now, that was the only bag of hers that I had. And I will talk more about her in the epilogue. Love her, love her bags, love everything about her. So that's that whip, which, does it count as a whip? Okay, so the next work in progress is also one that you have seen before, but I made more progress on it. Very excited. I think I started this episode by saying that I hadn't done any sweater knitting, but I did do a little bit of knitting on my tolsta tee, and the reason I want to show you is because I split for the sleeves, so it looks more like a sweater now. Okay, there's the front. Ta-da! The sleeves have been split for. And I'm so excited. Look, guys, look how it's gonna look on me. Oh man, it's gonna look so good. I really want to finish this. Like, I want it to be finished right now. It's just too hot. That was too hot touching me. I don't want it to touch me. I can feel every fiber. I'm not even that sweaty right now because it's like 8 in the morning. And anyway, but I wanted to talk a little bit about, did I mention? I don't think I mentioned when I talked about this sweater last, what I had done differently. I went down 2 needle sizes. I'm using around the cuffs for the collar, the sleeves, and the bottom, a size 4 needle, because I really wanted a tighter gauge. I mentioned whenever I first talked about the tolsta tee that it was a bit of a boxier fit than I was going for. I wanted the fitted sweater girl look from the 40s and 50s. And so I did not gauge swatch. I don't want to gauge swatch. I am very much the don't. Kelly! Come here. Come here. I'm going to regret this because I'm going to get hair all over me. Hello, Callie. You cannot have my string. Say hi. Is there anything you want to say into the mic? She's so upset. Okay. I love you. Goodbye. I'll hold it on my lap so maybe she'll not be so tempted. Callie's obsessed with string. Like, she goes into a frenzy. She does okay if she's on my lap while I'm knitting. But if she's free to roam about the cabin, she will grab and steal my yarn from me. Okay, so this would have been the first time, apart from when I was designing patterns, that I measured gauge. And the reason I did that is because when I split for the sleeves, I was like, oh no, I think that this is too small, because I went down to a size 7 for the body. I just really love the way that a size 7, I'm going to hold this here and pretend like I'm wearing it. I really love the way that a size 7 works up with DK and worsted. It's what I'm most used to. And when I did that, I have a 49-inch bust, And the next size up in the pattern would have been a 53-inch bust. Would you guys like to see Stevie too? The animals are just... Come here. Come here. Oh, the mic is blocking the animals a lot, and me probably. There. I know, I have lipstick on. I know. You can smell it. No, don't do it. You want to say hi? No, I know. Want to say hi? I have a story to tell you guys about Stevie later. All right, well, we'll let her sit here while I talk to you because she seems to want to cuddle. So I ended up measuring, and because I knew that I was going down in a needle, excuse you, in a needle size, I went up in a size in the pattern. Long story short, I measured. The gauge, of course, was finer. It was a finer gauge, smaller gauge. And the measurement was perfect. So I'm just going to trust the pattern because according to the gauge that I am knitting at, I am knitting the size that will fit me. So we're going to trust it. So excited. Cannot wait. I don't think it's going to take me long to finish it once the weather turns and I can actually just work on it. How am I supposed to show people this? Okay, so the next work in progress. The next work in progress is another pair of socks for Rory. I believe I mentioned that I was going to knit a pair of strawberry socks for her because Rory is very into strawberries right now, and my yarn got kind of knotted up. This sock is not very far along because, to be honest, I also was worried about recording because I didn't think I was going to have enough done to show you. So the shop has just been, I wouldn't say that like sales have been super busy. They've been about the same as they usually are at this time of year, but I have like a wholesale order. I have new products that are coming in. I am planning for a bunch of new products, but wholesale right now is keeping me very, very busy. So I really haven't had a ton of time to do anything other than my wholesale orders. Here is what it looks like so far. So this is on a size US 2. We have Knit Picks Stroll Stroll Tonal in Fennel. I did a picot cuff. I just knit 4 rows, did the picot round, knit another 4 rows, folded down. I'll tell you my story about all that in a minute. Another 6 rows ribbing, and then here we have Mystery Mustard because I don't know, it was already skeined up in my stash, has been there for a long time, so I don't know who dyed this. It's beautiful, but I don't know who dyed it. I kind of want to say Murray Wool Goods, but I have a skein from her that is mustard, almost the exact same color, but it's in tweed, and I don't think I would have gotten 2, so I don't know. And then this yarn, the red, is Cascade Heritage in red. And then I'm using just a resin strawberry stitch marker. I'll have these in the shop by this weekend. It's a little bit big, but it's not heavy, and it's not pulling on the stitch. So it's fine. So, these socks have been troublesome. I've ripped them out twice. This is finally the success story. For Rory, I usually cast on 52 stitches on a US size 2, and just fly through them. For these, because I was doing some color work, I knew that I needed to cast on just a little bit more or go up a needle size, which I didn't want to do because US 2 is already kind of big for socks. I just like to use them. US 2 or 1.5 is my go-to for socks. Oh, okay, so the first time that I cast this on, I cast on 56, which this is still 56, and I did the picot. I did longer, I believe. And then I tried to do what I do for the cuffs that I fold over and knit 2 together around, and just that way they're done. I don't have to do any sewing. And I couldn't get it to line up. I have been knitting those, you know, the double roll socks for weeks, a couple months now, and that's how I fold them and then flip them and make that roll. The picot was not, it was all slanted, and it looked terrible. It was so frustrating. And so then I was like, well, I really don't want to do any sewing because I know that it's going to be too tight. I'm not very good at hand sewing. I know there's no way I'm going to get my tension right. So I ripped it out, I cast on again, and this time after I finished a really short ribbed cuff, I went back with a crochet hook and I did a scalloped edge. It looked okay. It's probably something I would do again for socks. It did cause it to flare out quite a bit, like how this is mostly, man, my camera, there we go. It doesn't usually struggle this much, but it really likes my hair bow. It flared out more like this. I didn't really like that, but I was like, I'll just keep going. Got through the heel, and then when I was starting to turn the heel, I noticed my count was like, it seemed like it was huge. So at some point during all of that, I had increased to 64, or maybe I cast on 64, which is what Will and I wear. Way too big for Rory. Huge sock. So I had to rip all that out again. And then I just was like, I'm going to do the picot edge. I'm going to sew it down. I'm going to look up how to sew a stretchy stitch because I need to know how to do that. I need to stop being lazy and learn something new. So I finished this, got a few rows in with the red so I had more space. And then I looked up what good like stretchy hand stitching was, and I could have done the herringbone stitch, but it looked too complicated. My brain couldn't, so I just did like this. Like I did like a zigzag stitch, tried to keep it pretty loose, and it stretches fine. So I learned something new. And then I've just been keeping my stitches really spread out for the lice pattern, which is every 3 rows, every 4th stitch, every 3 rows, staggering it. The astute observationalist will notice that this row is in the wrong place. And by then I was just like, whatever, it's strawberry seeds, no one's gonna know. These are really pretty. What I will say is I have never worked with Cascade Heritage before. It was reasonably priced. It was $11.50 for 100 grams. I don't think I want to ever knit with it again. It is very fine, like it's a very fine fingering weight yarn, and it has no tooth. I feel like I'm knitting with silk. I like yarn to have a little bit more toothiness to it. It doesn't have to be crunchy. Like I do like soft yarns, but like my ideal perfect yarn is actually Stroll. It feels like wool, but it also is sturdy, and like the tooth from Stroll is about as soft as I'd like to go. So yeah, and I feel like my tension on this, like I should have gone down a needle size. It's really drapey. So I'm gonna finish this sock. And I'll finish the pair. I don't dislike it enough that I'm not going to finish the pair. I'm going to take these 3 colors of yarn, I'm going to double them, and I'm going to use them to make her mittens. And that is being held in my devil bag from Dolphina, gifted to me by my bestest friend, Allie. Okay, so you've already seen these, but I am so close to done. Really, really loving working on them. And it is my boot socks. We'll call them boot socks. Okay, so I finished one sock. We have Jellyfish from Paper Crane Yarns. Here is Rumor by Dragon Horde Yarn. The heel is Luminaire by Ruby and Roses. I cast on 52 on a size 3. And then down here it's super subtle, but I love it. Just a little row of dots. And so I liked that so much, that little touch of the color work around the toe, that they're just for me, so it doesn't matter that they're not going to match. But for this pair, I did it around the cuff. It's really subtle. I can see it up close. You guys might not be able to see it very well. Okay, you can see it a little better there. So I'm done with the leg. I'm working on garter stitch heel flap. And I have a little caramel apple. These are in my shop, ready to ship. This is the caramel version, and then I have a red and yellow ombre apple that is butterscotch. So I love this apple. Especially with the colors of the sock. I think it looks so nice. Just very witchy, spooky autumnal. I don't have much to say about those other than I'm really excited to keep knitting DK weight socks and DK weight colorwork socks, which you'll see in a minute. So not a whole lot to say other than really love them. I messaged Ashley from Paper Crane. Hey, I noticed that jellyfish is sold out. Are you gonna make more? And she was like, yeah, it's been really popular. So if you like jellyfish, the yarn, and the creature, I guess, but you can't buy that from Ashley. If you like this colorway, she did say she's going to have it back in her shop. So keep an eye out for that. If I don't buy it all first. Okay, so that is those. And they are living in my Coraline bag from Leela Styles. Okay, last work in progress is another pair of boot socks, which are for Adam. He has asked for more thick socks this year. Did I already say that last podcast? I think I did. Because he said he doesn't like wearing house shoes. But he likes the one pair of thicker socks that I have knit him. Yeah, and once more. It gets very cold in the studio here. So I am doing a color work, just super easy, simple color work sock. So here is, I don't know the colorway name. Oh, yay, I kept the label. One of a kind. Oh, Forbidden Forest. It's like, Megan, I can't read your handwriting. One of a kind Forbidden Forest skein. I've had this forever. It's 75/25 merino wool nylon, 274 yards. Bad Wolf Girl Studio. She gave me, during a swap years ago, some DK weight sock yarn that I have not used yet, and I have two skeins. One is going to be used for me, and the other is going to be used for Adam. Or maybe I don't know. Anyway, so Forbidden Forest, one of a kind. This is Bear Stroll by Knit Picks, held double. And then I have a pumpkin spice latte from me. Pre-orders for these are in the shop. And I am doing the same size for his foot as for me, which is cast on 52 on a US size 3. I hope that'll be fine because Adam is a lot thinner than me. I would have assumed that means that his feet, they're longer than mine, but surely they're thinner. But when I knit him socks in the same stitch count, and Levi, our buddy who I also knit socks for, both of their socks are too tight when I do the cast on 64 and fingering weight. And so I've been casting on more for them recently. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just like that their feet are shaped differently than mine, because I fully would have expected that they would need the same size as me stitch count wise, or maybe even smaller because they're both thin boys. They're thin boys. So anyway, I hope this fits him. I steal his socks anyway, so if it doesn't fit him, I will just take these. But I think it will, because the DK weight is very stretchy. And then I've tried these on, and it's nice stretchy. I like them. I'm really enjoying doing like little color work bits into socks, if you cannot tell, because all of my socks currently have color work. Another bag by Puff Stitch. It's very me, isn't it? It's got mushrooms and flowers, little bitty pumpkins, skulls, all the things I like. That's it. That is it for whips. So we can go into things I've finished. Alright, the baby socks are done. Except for apparently tucking the ends in. No, just this one end. I have one end I haven't tucked in. They're done. The ties are in. Once I tuck in that single thread, they'll be ready. So mystery yarn, deep stash, scrap yarn, no idea who dyed the pink, with Bear Stroll from Knit Picks, and then Inverness from Knit Picks Stroll Tonal with Bear Stroll. Loosely based on the Susie Dale socks by Homespun House. Again, I didn't use the same needle size. I used a size 1.5 and didn't do a few of the things that the pattern called for. So yeah, cast on 40 at the cuff, did some ribbing, normal, like a lice pattern. So, okay. So those are done. So excited to give those to my sister. I think I'll give them to her before her babies are born. I don't think I can wait too much longer because I'm really excited about these. The next finished thing I have is also a pair of socks. Rory has worn these, so if you see any dust or wood chips from the playground, because she's still, despite this heat wave, she is still wearing her socks to school. She wore wool socks today and it's going to be 101 degrees. And I tried to tell her that she probably didn't need to be wearing wool socks to school, and she said, Mom, they're the best socks I have. They're so fluffy. It's like, okay. So I'm sure she'll be okay. They aren't even doing outside recess these 2 days because it's just been too hot. Anyway, these are done. These are, I'm calling them my double groove socks because I don't have the jelly roll sock pattern, but it is inspired from that, but that pattern's not available anymore. So this roll here is Wisteria, a mini that I had from Homespun House. This colorway is Snow Day from Ruby and Roses. The very light contrast blue here is Wonderland Heather from Knit Picks. Here's Rory's hair again. And the toe is also Wonderland Heather from Knit Picks. So she calls these her Arctic socks. And she says that they are the biggest ones. She said the first pair I knit her is the smallest, and then medium is the second one, and then so I guess they just keep getting bigger. But she says they all fit. So yeah, I'm really excited to knit her another pair like this. I might cast on another pair just to keep in the car for pickup line, since I'm doing pickup line now, and just have a project in the car that I don't take out. That would be fun. I haven't done that before. I've thought about it every year, but I've never done it, so maybe I'll do that. Okay, the next finished thing is a pair of socks again. These are Will's 8-bit socks because they are knit from 8-bit with Knit Picks Felici. So up here, let's flip it around so you don't have to see all the ends. Up here we have Pickle Juice from Stroll Brights. It's not available anymore, unfortunately. 8-bit is the striping from Felici, Knit Picks. This is Knit Picks Train Station, Knit Picks Train Station, Pickle Juice again, and Train Station. For Will's and my socks, again, it's a US size 2. I cast on 64 stitches. And I asked him after I finished these, I was like, do you want me, because I would like, my goal for the kids is I'm going to have a pair of 5 pairs of socks minimum, so that they, if they want to, can wear a pair of socks that mom made them every day of the school week. But he did tell me that he wants the next thing I knit him to be his skull mittens, which I haven't cast on yet. Next podcast, I will show those to you. They are a self-drafted pattern. I've knit them a few times before last year, and sent them away. I might ask Allie if she can send me pictures of them so I can show you what they look like finished, because I knit a pair for her and her husband last year, and they use them during the winter when they're gaming. They're their gaming fingerless mitts. So I'll ask her. I'm sure she won't mind sending me a picture of them. So yeah, those are done. Ends are not tucked in. You are being so needy. You are. What? Ugh. What? I have to show them what I'm doing. I have one more finished object. Ugh. Okay. You sit here then, because this shouldn't be too hard to do with you on me. Alright, the last finished thing is the Musselburgh hat. I finished it. I say this triumphantly because I really didn't know if I was ever going to finish this hat, which is dramatic considering I haven't been working on it that long. Stevie loves how it smells because it's not a superwash, so it smells sheepy. Look at the striping it did. Isn't that fun? I love it. Was super nervous when I finished it. Are you going to try to lay down? I was super nervous when I finished it. Nope, leave it. Because, good girl, it looked too small, just barely. It looked just barely too small, and I tried it on her, and it was a little tighter than I wanted. And I was comparing it to, I don't think I have it here anymore. I don't. I had another hat I've knit for her in the past, and I had it, I was holding it up while I was going. I was like, it's the same width. It'll be fine. It'll fit. Because that hat actually is a little big for her still. And she tried it on. She really liked it. She didn't complain, but it was bigger than I wanted, or smaller than I wanted for her. But I hadn't blocked it yet, so I soaked it for an hour maybe, and I really aggressively stretched it out on a towel to dry for a couple hours, and then after that I shaped it and I put it on my head for just very briefly, and when it fit my head after it had been blocked, I felt better. And once it was completely dry, she tried it on and it fit just like I wanted it to. So really relieved about that, because it got to be kind of a slog, to be honest. So I'm taking a break from the Musselburgh. Oh, thank you so much to the viewer. I had a new subscriber. I have a lot of new subscribers, I think. But a new subscriber said that I was mispronouncing Musselburgh, because it's actually, I was saying Musselburgh, and it's actually Musselburgh, which is after a town in Scotland. And you know what? After I read that comment, I think I knew that, and I had just forgotten. Because I think I had watched someone in the past mispronounce it, and they corrected themselves. So, Musselburgh. So I'm definitely going to make more of these still, but remember that time when I said that I was going to have one on the needles at all times? I'm taking a bit of a break, but I am casting on another hat soon. I have a lot of things I need to cast on. I just haven't yet. So that is all my finished things. And so we will move into what's spinning. Are you just gonna stay here? You're so clingy with these ears. Okay, she got down. Okay, so for what's spinning, I'm changing it just a little bit. Because whenever I did Ruth Edding, I really enjoyed doing the voiceover type of collage presentation, but then I realized that the reason that was so successful for me was because she wasn't very well known for me. She was a super old singer, but an old singer meaning from the 20s and 30s. So she probably wasn't super well known, but as I was like looking through our collection, I'm not going to always have like groundbreaking, interesting things. So what I'm actually going to do for What's Spinning is I'm still going to talk about if we're listening to records, music that we're listening to, because music is very important to us. We always we have musician friends, and we are always playing music in the house. Like, music is a constant in our life. But I also think I'll do like anything we're reading, maybe some like shows that we're watching, kind of like I've seen other podcasters do, because I feel like that still falls into the category of What's Spinning. So for this time, for What's Spinning, we actually haven't been listening to our physical records very much, but we have been listening to my favorite Spotify radio station, which is called Fallout Radio with old ads. I will put like the thumbnail here, because it is like 39 hours of just old music. Some of it is from the Fallout video game, which the aesthetic of which I am obsessed with. I've tried to play the game. I'm not very good at it. I loved playing it, but I got frustrated. I got very frustrated while I was playing it, so it's not something I can play a lot at a time. So I've been listening to that pretty much every day. And then Adam has been listening to some Audible books. He is currently listening to the Hellboy series, I think, of novels. I didn't know that I knew Hellboy was a comic, but I didn't know that it had novels. I don't know that he did either, but he said he's been talking about it, because he tells me every time he's listening to an audiobook, he'll like keep me in the loop of what he is listening to in parts that he liked. And he said that the book is great, the narrator really sucks. So he said that, and to be fair, Adam's introduction to audiobooks was Jim Dale. You cannot, with the Harry Potter books, you cannot beat Jim Dale for narration. I have never heard a narrator that was able to narrate as well as Jim Dale. Except Neil Gaiman. Maybe Neil Gaiman. I'm a big Neil fan. Before he was listening to the Hellboy books, he was listening to the Dresden Files, and he is well into that series. So he'd been listening to that so long that he's kind of taking a break. So Adam recommends both of those. Hellboy is kind of on the fence. Good book, bad narrator. And then for shows that I'm watching, I gave Mad Men a go, because it's the time period that I like, but it was pretty exhausting to watch, to be honest. Loved the aesthetic, loved the clothes, loved like seeing all the decor and just, the period stuff. But literally everyone in that show is cheating on each other. Literally everyone. I'm pretty sure it's the point of the show, but I was expecting me to like somebody in the show, and I didn't. I despised every character. And it wasn't even like from a moral standing. It was just like, I guess it was like it, but I don't feel like I'm being a goody two shoes that I'm saying like, hey, I'd rather not watch you sleep with literally everyone you meet other than your spouse. Is that really so much? Is that so? So it just got exhausting really quick. And then whenever Peggy started to like have the fat suit prosthetics on because she was gaining weight because she had clearly gotten pregnant, I was like, okay, this is so predictable. I'm not interested. And then I looked it up, and I guess Betty dies from lung cancer, and it's just really glad I hopped off of that. So not watching Mad Men anymore, which, to be fair to certain people that told me, hey, you're not going to like this. You will like the period, but you will not like this show. And so because I rebel against when people tell me I'm not going to like something, I fired it up and bought the first season, and no, I didn't like it. So, but what I have been watching is the Dick Van Dyke Show. I have never seen it before, and quite literally always thought the Dick Van Dyke Show was the Andy Griffith Show. I don't know why, but Adam told me he was the same way. Like, he thought Dick Van Dyke, every time someone would say that, he would think of the Andy Griffith Show, which I did watch that growing up. But that and MASH would come on the weekends and the mornings sometimes. And I didn't like watching MASH, but I liked watching the Andy Griffith Show sometimes when I was a kid. So loving the Dick Van Dyke Show. Actually laugh out loud while watching it. You can watch it on YouTube for free. It does have ads, which sometimes takes you out of the whole silver screen like immersion, but it's worth it. I've watched a couple episodes with Adam even, and he even laughed. He really liked it, I think, but maybe not enough to continue watching it. I'm not sure. We don't watch a lot of TV together because we are both so picky. I am so picky about what I watch. I don't really watch TV very often. And when I do, it's usually something time period drama. And then the other show that I have started watching that just I happened upon and really like it is called, I'm gonna say it wrong, Grantchester. It is about a vicar who helps solve murders, set in 1953. That's it for What's Spinning. That was me talking a lot for What's Spinning. So I'm not really sure. I'm still going to play with this segment a little bit. I'm sure that you noticed whenever you started watching, I've added even like a new opening screen. I don't think I'm going to change the transition screens because I really love the sparkles and the kind of creepy hands, rosy wallpaper. Okay, so that's it for What's Spinning, and we will move into shop talk. I have a lot to talk about from the shop, and I will have even more to talk about from the shop later on. I have new products that have been coming into the shop for the past 2 weeks that I'm just trying to organize and get the way that I want them. I have some right here that you can see that I've already announced the candles, but I have other stuff that I haven't announced. Some of it I will talk about in this episode, so the first that you'll be hearing about it, if I get the episode up in time, is here. And then I have more coming that have never, I have products coming that have never been sold in my shop before. I've never even talked about selling them in my shop before, and I can't quite believe I'm going to be selling them. And I'm not going to talk about that too much, even though it's pretty much all I can think about right now. I'm in complete shock that it's going to happen, but we'll talk about that later. So there's a little bit of hype and a teaser, and then I'll disappear for 2 weeks and you won't know. I actually think that I will release a separate video once all of those products come to fruition. But obviously today we're going to talk about stuff that's actually available. Okay, so first up, I have 3 sisters, and 2 of which have run businesses in the past. Wait, is this Brianne's first business? She has helped me with my business in the past. I don't think that she's run her own. But she is one of a pair of twins. The youngest 2 of my sisters are twins. The mailman was just outside, and I swear he looked at me, and now my stomach feels all cold. Twin of the twin I'm going to talk about, Marissa. She had an Etsy shop, a seasonal Etsy shop a couple years ago where she sold ornaments, and some of you bought them, and they were wonderful wood burn painted ornaments. She doesn't do that anymore. She went on to do a home cottage baking business this past year, really successful, and now she has another job. She's not doing the home business thing anymore, but Brianne has started staying home with her son. The mailman just dropped something off. It's fine. Good girl, Stevie. She doesn't bark at the mailman. She maybe has twice, and I think it's only been if she was like asleep and he like scared her awake. Okay, my God. There's no reason to be this worked up. He delivers mail literally every day. So she has started a soy candle business, and she makes art candles, and she also has been doing jar candles, and then recently started doing votive. So I asked her if she would like to work together. She said yes, and so I am now carrying some of her I will be carrying some of her jar candles by this weekend, and I also am hosting a cozy charm and candle box where I have votive candles shaped like yarn. So I'm going to show those to you first. Hopefully I'll post a picture as well if I can't do this successfully, but here's one of the charm sets that you will get. So you would get this one with the Macintosh apple. It's an apple pie and then 2 polymer clay apples. And I say polymer clay apples because I'm also going to show you here soon, I have resin apple stitch markers that would, be available for a lower price than ones I've sculpted, also coming to the shop. I need to be organized here. So with this box, you get the stitch marker set and a candle, which this is how it's packaged, and I'll post a picture of how it looks out of the packaging, but it looks like a ball of yarn. So this is the Macintosh apple, and then the other scent that is available is pumpkin pie, which definitely smells like pumpkin pie. It's amazing. All of her candles smell amazing. This is the charm set that you would get with it. Hold still. A little bitty pumpkin and a whole pumpkin pie and a maple leaf. This lovely like coral colored yarn ball votive that is scented like pumpkin pie. I actually haven't shipped any of them that have sold yet because I'm sure that I'm being paranoid, but I was so scared they were going to melt because soy wax is really soft, I feel like, compared to paraffin, and even though it burns slower, it feels softer. I don't understand. But anyway, so in that box you would get those will be shipping this weekend is what I'm getting at. But in that box, you get the votive candle, you get the charm set, and then I'm also sending along a votive plate. I'm not taking it out because I have exactly as many of these as I need, and I don't want to like get my fingerprints on them or anything for you. So these are, can you hear it? Sorry if you don't like crinkling. I would have loved that if I was watching this. It's iron, but it's plated with gold, so to put your candle on, because I know not everyone has votive plates. I do because I'm obsessed with candles, but I just wanted you to be able to light it immediately. And then I'm also just sending along a little box of matchsticks. Super simple, just has my little sticker on it with my new logo. Since I already mentioned them, I will go ahead and show you the resin stitch markers that are going to go into the shop this weekend. We have a pair of apples, and the large strawberry. So if you don't like bigger stitch markers like this, they're not as big as the pumpkin that I have listed as a zipper pull, but these would also make a great zipper pull if you don't want to have a, I don't know, such a fat stitch marker. I have also popped in just a restock of my needle tubes and my, so here's my needle tubes. I use these all the time to keep my needles in, because I don't want them poking anything or rolling around. And I have polka dot and just regular solid colored faux leather scissor sleeves. Those are all restocked in all colors, but there's not like a ton of each color, so they usually sell out pretty quickly, so grab them while you can. New to the shop, I'm going to be slowly bringing in some like cross stitching. I already have needle minders in the shop, but I wanted to bring in just a couple more things for like my stitchers that I have as customers. So I have these really cute needle threaders. You could use these for, yarn too, obviously. So I've got several colors, and they are flowers. So those will go in the shop this weekend. Here's all the different colors that are coming in. I need to like organize them and take pictures and stuff still. And another thing I'm super excited about, got this idea from the kids' teachers actually, is these rigid slap rulers, which are amazing for anything, but especially sock knitting or mitten knitting, I feel like, because you can just stick these rulers into the tube you're knitting and see how much you have left to knit. So I'll have a good bit of these in the shop in several colors and see how they just really small, roll up. Stop focusing on my bow. So they'll go in your bottom of your bag. You could wrap them around the skein of yarn that you're using, or put them in your notions bag, obviously. Another thing that I am working on to go with, I mean, it's not going to be sold together, they'll be sold separately, but I'm going to be carrying jar candles from my sister's shop. She also has jar candles in her shop, but I have these amber jars, 6-ounce jars from Warm Wishes Candle Company, which is her company. 100% soy. Oh, good. I grabbed my favorite one. I stole one of these. It has a wood lid, and this one's pecan pie. There are 3 scents. So Brienne does wax molds to do like little accents and art candles. And so this one's pecan pie. My God, it smells so good. It smells so good, guys. I'm obsessed with nutty, spicy smells, and especially during the cold months. So she made a mold from an actual pecan and made wax pecans to put on top of this with some glitter, which looks beautiful once it's lit. I don't know if I have some videos of it lit, because the one that I took, but if I do, I'll pop it in here. Because it looks silver when the wax is hard, but when it melts, it's just this white caramel glitter. I don't know. It's sparkly and it's beautiful. Yeah, I'm excited to host more of her candles. She has a sale going on in her shop right now until Labor Day. Or is it just for this weekend? I don't know. But you can currently get this size of a candle in her shop right now in several different scents for less than $10 if you want to try her out. So we'll have pecan pie, fall spice, and apple pie. They all smell amazing. I just happen to be obsessed with the pecan pie, but they all smell so good. Apple pie smells a lot like Macintosh apple with just like a touch of cinnamon, but it doesn't smell like apple cinnamon. I don't really know. Maybe they have some vanilla mixed in there, but it's not quite apple cinnamon. It's a warmer, more baked good smell than that. So another thing that I am planning on carrying sporadically in my shop is something that I think is very vintage and beautiful and also kind of nostalgic for me. Even though I'm not a sentimental or nostalgic person, I don't feel like. Maybe people who know me would disagree. I don't know. But hi! This is the animal podcast this time. So anyway, I wanted to do like little coasters to put these candles on. Obviously, it's not necessary. It works really well for me because where I put my candles, there's like usually a doily or something underneath. So it keeps the doily safe, but also has like a more solid, you could also use the lid, a more solid place to put the jar. But that's to show you that it fits. And I just wanted to paint just some flowers around the edge. So these are violets. So I'll do a few with violets. And then these aren't done and they're not glazed. So they are stained, but the stain is darker and richer once I glaze it, once I varnish it. But I have daisies I'm working on right now. Varnish it, it becomes this like darker color. Isn't that cool? What a difference it makes. So those will be available in the shop. And then I also have something else coming very similar to this idea for my stitchers coming in the shop. But that won't be here until probably next podcast. So I think I want to do violets, daisies, poppies, maybe some sunflowers or some sort of like nod to autumn. And then other stuff in the shop. So those will be available this weekend. Maybe by the time this goes up, probably not. Probably within a couple days of this going up, because I typically put out my podcast within 24 hours of recording it. And it is currently Friday. Other shop stuff. I have put new cocoa cups in the shop for Christmas. We have a pink snowman and a holly cup, which you guys really liked. We have pumpkin stacks. I released a whole host of like spooky sweaters and witch boots. I hope that I didn't talk about these already. I don't think I did. Soup pots. I released some soup pots, which I haven't released for a really long time. And I really like this year's versions. I was trying to kind of go for a Merry Mushroom from like the vintage Sears release. I think it was Sears. They had like the Merry Mushroom collection that everyone is dying to get their hands on now. And of course you can only get them by selling your soul to an eBay seller right now. So there's that. And then also, if you haven't noticed, I updated my logo. You guys were so kind and supportive. I had so many likes, so many comments when I released that version of my logo on Instagram. I still love the rosy vintage tattoo style. It just didn't have enough tattoos because obviously now I have more tattoos, and by end of September I'm going to have a lot of my bottom arm covered as well. So I really wanted to incorporate more tattoos on my arms. And then also I made a version with me doing charms, but I did a version of me knitting as well, because something that is so funny but has happened so many times over the years, which is another reason why I'm really glad I'm finally brave enough to do this podcast and some other things coming up, is that I have been asked over the years several times if I actually knit or if I just make things for knitters, which is a valid question given that because of how insecure and introverted and self-deprecating, to be honest, that I am, I only would release products and no information about myself for years. I mean, I've had the shop open not selling charms for almost 10 years, but I opened in 2014, and I've probably been selling charms for 7 years. I don't know. I should know that. And anyway, it always was really shocking to me that people didn't know I knitted, and that actually was why any of this has started, and that my shop started as knitting. It started with my stocking pattern, then I knit stockings for sale, and then as I started to very, very slowly integrate into the world of knitters, like I knew nothing about it, but that there was even a community, I started to see polymer clay stitch markers pop up, and we could not afford anything like that. We could barely afford the yarn I was using to make the mittens and stockings that I was creating for sale. Like, it was virtually no profit at the time. Anyway, all that to say, I only started making charms because we couldn't afford for me to get these beautiful charms other people were making, so I made them for myself, and then I shared them in like a Facebook group or something, and people were like, oh, you should sell them, and I already had the shop open, and here we are now. Yeah, it always felt really weird that people didn't know that I knit. Why was I talking about that? Oh, so that's why I did a version of my logo just in a, like, flipped, like reverse, so there's, you know, two. In my Etsy banner, in the YouTube banner, there's two versions of me now. There's one where I'm doing charms, and there's one where I'm knitting, because the charms are my work, but I'm always knitting now, minus the knitting mojo crisis of 2021 and 2022. So yeah, that's why I did that. I also changed up the style a little bit, kept the vintage 1950s cartoon style, but made it a little bit warmer, a little bit more cozy looking, included the same bows that I always wear in my hair. I will be I have an autumn version for a business card, and then I also did a winter version for a business card, and I ordered the autumn version. I ordered my charm card. I'm really excited about all those. Another huge release in the shop that I probably should have talked about first, but didn't, is Advents. I have released a 4-day Advent in collaboration with Warm Wishes Candle Company. What is happening? Siri? Oh my God, it's Siri. Thank you. Anyway, so you get 4 charms from me. The theme this year is classic children's Christmas songs, which I actually got from one of Allie's friends during, we were playing Overwatch, and I was like, guys, what do you think I should do for my theme this year? And he was like, what about, like, kids' Christmas songs? And so then they all started, like, the team all started talking about, like, their favorite Christmas songs and, like, just very nostalgic. They still got so excited to talk about the Christmas songs that they liked when they were kids. And a lot of them are older Christmas songs. They've been around forever, so I can still do, like, my vintage twist to things if I wanted to. And you will also get a 6 ounce jar candle from Warm Wishes Candle Co., which she has kind of told me it will also be in a theme from a song that she's choosing, one of her favorite Christmas songs from when she was a kid, or we were kids, and she's gonna make it themed after that. So I'm really excited about this box. There are still a good few in the shop, but once they sell out, I'm not putting more in, because that was another reason I'm not doing a 24-day advent this year, or even a 12-day advent. Number one, I just don't think it's cost effective for my customers, because a lot of them are already getting yarn advents or tea advents or Bath and Body advents. I mean, there's so many of us now that do advents. I really don't think that it is economical for most of my customer base, especially right now during this economy thing that's going on, to have just that many charms that expensive of an advent for me as well as everybody else. So 4 days, 4 Sundays of advent, and of course you can open the candle whenever you want and burn it for as long as it lasts. And I do think at this point, she and I have talked about that she's going to still have that scent in her shop as well. So if you love it and you burn through it before Christmas, you can get another one from her. So that's really exciting. And then the other box that we have is the Sleepy Hollow box. There are only like 1 or 2 left of that one, if that. I don't think it's sold out, but there's only like 1 or 2 left. So you have the option for actually 3 characters in this shop, because I had to do the 2, but I really wanted to add Katrina as well, but I didn't want to force anyone to pay, was it 80? Would it be $80? I didn't want to force anyone to pay $80 in order to get this box. So if you want Katrina Von Tassel, you can add her on. Otherwise, you get 2 characters and 3 coordinating charms, just like the other fandom boxes. It ships mid-September. Oh, and the Advent boxes ship by November 1st. So I'm really excited. I hope that you guys want to spend a little bit of your holiday season with me in this way. Even if you don't, I am doing Vlogmas. I am doing Vlogtober, so we can hang out that way too, if you want to. So I think that's it for shop. I had a lot of shop stuff, and I have more shop stuff coming. I can't wait. I probably won't be able to wait, but I can't wait. I'm so excited. So I think we're ready to go into the epilogue. Okay, this has been a really, really chatty podcast. So Jill from Puff Stitch and I did a swap. And I still haven't sent her my side, because anyone that has done swaps with me of any capacity knows I take forever to send you your swap. I'm not proud of it. I do end up sending them. I just take forever. And I feel ashamed and sad every time that I disappoint myself and not them. They're never disappointed. But anyway, so Jill, your swap package is coming. It's almost done. I don't know why I haven't sent it, other than if I have like ADHD or something. But here are the 3 bags that I'm using from her. And she was incredibly naughty and sent me a 4th bag, which is funny because, so she said this is her favorite Christmas pattern fabric that she has. And what's funny is I love it so much, and I have the mustard version of it, because I also am obsessed with this Christmas fabric, and it was what I asked Adam for for Christmas 2022. So I have the mustard and the red version, and there was a green version as well. I think that's it, but I loved all of them so much and I couldn't choose, and now I have 2 of the 3. So maybe Christmas 2023 I'll just ask Adam for the green version. So the first bag that I have been obsessed with since she released it, and I wonder if you know why. Can you spot the matching moths? It has emperor moths on it. So beautiful, 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 beautiful. I think she called it hazelwood. So there's moths, there's mushrooms, and then where are my snails? I didn't know there were snails, and I was super excited because I'm also obsessed with snails. I don't know if you guys know this by now. There's a snail. So, love it. Waxed canvas bottoms. They stand up. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this because it's long enough to go around my wrist, which is nice. Then you guys saw this one. Little tag. Her bags are just so well made. They're so incredibly well made. Absolutely gorgeous. And then probably my favorite one, it's really hard to choose, but every time I look at this one, my dark cottage core obsessions are met in every bit of this fabric. Because there are mushrooms, there are pine cones, there are moths, there are ferns, there are flowers, there is a moon, and it has like the sketchy art style that I like so much that I have it on my body until I die. So yeah, Jill, thank you so much again. I've told you over and over how obsessed I am and how much you spoiled me, but thank you again. I love my bags, and obviously they are all in use except for the Christmas one, but I do know what I'm going to put in the Christmas one. I just haven't picked out the yarns yet, and I haven't fully decided to start knitting Christmas stuff yet, but I have 4 Christmas patterns, not just like Christmas gifts, but they're actually Christmassy patterns, like a stocking or an ornament planned. So that is my big epilogue thing is my swap with Jill. She's just fantastic. I have 2 more swaps coming. They're just not here yet, so they'll be like spread out, and you'll get to see more beautiful products by beautiful makers that have been so kind and patient to swap with the likes of me. So the only really other thing to talk about in the epilogue is I had a Stevie story that I told you I was going to tell you. This week, on top of the heat and on top of being the first full week of school, they're not in school full time yet. They go into school full time next week. It's just been crazy. I've been doing wholesale orders. I haven't really even been in the studio because this wholesale order, it doesn't require like sculpting or even shipping yet because it's so big. I haven't gotten to the like packaging. So I've been watching the Dick Van Dyke Show out on the couch, which is nice because it gets hot in the studio. The studio is not as well insulated as the rest of the house, so I haven't really had to deal with the heat out here. But so that change of setting has made this week seem chaotic. We got this weird like sore throat type thing, so we had a sick day yesterday. The kids were home and I was kind of down, but I was still able to work on the order. But another thing that happened this week, Wednesday actually, today's Friday, so it was only a couple days ago, Will was, we keep our cars in our garage. We have a double car garage, and the Jeep was in the garage, and I always keep the keys in the garage. Do you see where this is going? And so in the chaos of the morning, getting lunches done, signing agendas, signing other things that you have to sign because there's always something that needs signed, Will took Stevie out and was going to put her little, I have like a stretchy bungee leash thing that, to keep her from hopping out of the car, but also like just kind of keep her more restrained, even though she really doesn't jump around the car. Anyway, he came in from being out there and he was like, "Hey mom, I was playing with Stevie and the car locked." And I was like, what do you mean the car locked? And he was like, "Well, she was playing with me, and I shut the door, and I don't know what they were doing, and the car locked. So can you unlock it, because I can't unlock it. I was like, I can't unlock it because the only pair of keys is in the car. This has never happened to me before. I have been with people when it has happened before, and I have called the police or whatever, because that's just kind of the role that I usually take in those situations. And it was like we were already running late for school, and it was hot. We were still under the excessive heat warning. Thankfully, we were in the garage. We were out of the sun, but it was still hot. So I was panicking. None of the windows were open. Stevie seemed fine, and she was fine. Obviously, you've seen her. She's fine. So, I mean, everything ends okay. No one gets stressed out. I was stressed out enough for everyone. So I called the police. Well, I called the police first, and they told me that they don't unlock cars anymore. I would have to call a local mechanic, and they offered to give me his number, and of course, if I couldn't get a hold of him, they would call him for me, and I said, okay, that's fine. I called him. He sounded a bit gruff, and I told him the situation. I did mention that Stevie was in the car, but maybe he was too tired. Maybe I had that voice that when women are stressed out, sometimes men, don't hear you. And he was like, well, I haven't even gotten up moving around. I haven't had my coffee yet, so it's going to be a while. And I was like, okay. So I called Willa, and by this time I wasn't crying, but I really wanted to. But I couldn't, because when I'm in that mode, I can't dissolve into tears. I am the eldest daughter. You don't do that. You're the captain, I guess. So I was still captaining. And by this point, as I called Willa, I asked her to come pick up the kids, take them to school. Will and Rory are screaming in the background and crying because they're like, Stevie's gonna die, she's gonna suffocate. By this time, I have asked Stevie, hey, would you come over here and step on this button? And she ended up just laying down, because she was like, I don't know what you're doing or why you haven't opened the door yet, but I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to do anything. Okay, so anyway, it was like 20 minutes. In this 20 minutes, the kids have gone to school. I have been Googling what can happen and in what span of time, how hot it gets in a car, and also have taken a hammer. I didn't hit the glass, but I was trying to, like, in the rear passenger, pop the seal to try to put a wire hanger down there. To do what? I don't know. I don't really know what I was going to do. I also tried to pick the driver's side lock with one of my big 2-inch bobby pins that I used to keep these in my hair. Of course, that didn't work either. I didn't set my own alarm off. Should have. My Jeep doesn't mind being aggressively broken into, or it just knew I wasn't a threat. So 20 minutes pass, he doesn't show up. I finally call my angel of a mechanic over there, that she's right here in town. I called her, I told her she was there within 30 seconds. They used the pillow thing that I saw on YouTube that of course I didn't have. Got Stevie out, I grabbed Stevie, and then they were gone. They didn't charge anything. Called the mechanic that I had originally called, and he was like, oh, I had no idea that you had a dog in there. Which I definitely told him that there was, but it's fine. Everything was fine. Very chaotic, very busy week, very busy weeks to come. But all that to say, I don't have a whole lot more to tell you. I really appreciate you tuning in to talk to me, listen to me. It was a really chatty one this time. I haven't really talked to other humans for a couple weeks because I've been so busy with this wholesale order, so I guess this was me talking to other humans. I hope that you're all staying cool, enjoying your projects, and I will see you next time. Bye! What else do I want to say? Being how... Ooh, there's cat hair on this. Callie, is it from you? People are gonna know I have cats. Callie's just staring at me. Because I hate my hair right now. This is why I was fine with it. And I'm gonna be fine with it when I edit. So I don't need to think about it. Just record. Just record and don't worry about it. Callie, don't. Callie, don't do it. Callie. Nope. No, no, no. Do you want up here? Kitty, kitty, kitty. Come here. You can come see me. Don't you touch the string. I know. I'm sorry. But you were bothering me. Kelly, stop it. I'm sure everybody here loves that you're here, but it doesn't make things easier for me. This is happening. Is that gonna be... No. It's chaos. No. Why is everything happening? This is going so well.